Hi, my name is Kate Hickson, and I did my project on gender bias. Gender bias is a major issue in our world today, on a very global scale. It is much worse in some places rather than others, but within the United States, it has gotten much better through the last 100 years. But there's still a long way to go, and there's still a lot of gender bias throughout the world, and it kind of affects everyone at all ages, all throughout their daily lives. So I think it needs to be addressed and brought to light a little bit more than it already is. The first topic I have is the objectification of women. Here we have a Twitter post from an account. If you go on this account, or there's also a lot of other accounts like this, you can see lots of pictures like this, and it's a big problem because if we're allowing this to happen, it's losing respect for women as a whole. Um, you'll just be seen as just a body or something like that. You're not taken seriously. And while this does happen to men too, you can find accounts like this with men on them. I think it's a much greater scale for women, and that's the problem that we have. So I think it has been addressed a lot more recently with all of the drama that has been going on with the allegations against President Trump, and so there has been more support for this. But I think there still needs to be a lot more, and a lot more needs to be done to stop this. We can't just ignore it anymore. Um, our next post was two magazine covers on Sports Illustrated. They both of these people are very famous and very successful professional tennis players. Um, but on the right, you see Roger Federer, and he's actually pictured playing his sport. But on the left, we see that she's not even pictured anywhere in her sport. She's in kind of a seductive pose. She's basically there for her looks and not her talent. So I think women's sports has always been they're not as popular. They're not as looked at or watched. They don't get broadcasted as much. They don't get paid enough. And while people have been fighting for this a lot, and we have been gaining equality in this, there's still a lot of bad bias towards women in sports. Um, just like in this example, you see that I feel like in this, Roger Federer is taken much more seriously. He's pictured in his sport. He's doing what he is great at. And in the left, she's not even being shown doing what she loves and what she has been had so much success on. Um, and so if you see the one on the left, you won't think, oh, she's a tennis player or anything like that. Um, and so I think that is a big problem. And we need to start treating women in sports the same as we treat men in order to gain equality. Um, the next source was a video from YouTube, and it's all about gender bias in education. And it shows that it really does start at such a young age, and that language and looks and things like that can cause a big problem for them. This goes both ways because there's a lot of biases against both girls and boys in education, just as boys are generally seen as more troublemakers and rowdy, but girls may be a little more relaxed and not cause as many problems. This is a big bias that has kind of always been around. Another major one is that girls aren't good at science and math, boys are better at science and math. Um, so I think this can be discouraging, especially at such a young age. I don't think our children should be learning this or getting this put upon them when they haven't really been out in the world yet. They don't have any experience in that, and they're already being shaped to think these kinds of biases, and they're already affecting them just in elementary school. Um, our next source is just kind of in general about gender bias and how it does affect everyone. Um, it's a big issue, and it's everyone's issue. This article was very good because it kind of explained how or gender bias is seen everywhere, in the workforce, in education, in sports, and everything. So it shows that it does affect everyone and that everyone should be worried about it. Um, the research shows that, like, there's not nearly as many women in top leadership position as there is in men, even though women have been in the workforce for over 50 years. So, where are women in the workforce? Um, Even though there's research that shows that companies will be more organized and productive with women as their leaders, we as a society still struggle to put women in a position of power. Um, I don't think there is any real answer or immediate solution to this problem, but I think we need to begin to step towards this. We need to be more recognizable and show just how much it affects it. Um, in order to take a step forward, we have to first gain support. And this article also showed that language is such a important aspect in this. You cannot let people like use negative language against you that shows bias or things like that. You have to stand up for this, because if you stand up to that language, then you'll take steps towards reducing this bias. The last post was a Facebook post. This is kind of adding to our solution here. It's just gaining recognition. This is a post for ending gender bias in the military. In order to overcome the large magnitude of gender bias that thrives in our country, we have to begin to advocate for it. We need to change. We need to get recognition. Um, we have to get the ball rolling, really, and then it will gain recognition and fly from that. But I think it's just such a big problem that we need to address it much more frequently than we really are. It needs to be taken more seriously than it is, because I don't think it'll get any better if it's not. And I think this is a great topic to show how the media can also affect this, because, I mean, social media is kind of everything with this. I saw that here I had a Facebook and a Twitter post about it. So it shows that social media can have both positive and negative effects on it, such as this one where it's positive, it's trying to end it, and the one up top was negative as it was objectifying women. So media has such a huge impact on everything in our world today, especially this issue. So I think we need to use that as a source to create the recognition that we need. And just from there, keep spreading it. Thank you very much for listening.